What's good, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, Chrissyy Talks. Y'all call me Chrissyy, and let's go ahead and jump right into it. This is Niesha Harris-Brazell, a 16-year-old girl who is described to be happy, bubbly, and overall the life of the party.
Tell us about Niesha and why you're all here tonight.
I don't even know where to start. Real.
Niesha was my first grandchild that I was able to bring home. Bubbly, she was happy, she was, here we are trying to raise a self-sufficient, independent young lady, and she's taken away from us in the blink of an eye over something so meaningless as money.
On the night of January 2nd, Niesha and her best friend Mariah Edwards were working at a drive-thru Burger King in Milwaukee, Wisconsin when an attempted robbery took place. Surveillance footage shows a black Chevy Impala pulling up to the drive-thru shortly after 10 o'clock after the restaurant was closed. On the footage, the driver is seen talking to the male employee at the window before he leaves and shortly comes back less than 5 minutes later. Now when the robber circles back around, that's when Niesha is then at the drive-thru window, and that's when things turn left. When Niesha opened the window and saw the robber with a gun, she backed up and began to take cash out of the register and alerted her other employees that this guy had a gun out the window. While Niesha continued to take money out of the register, that is when the robber is seen on footage getting out of his car and crawling into the window, waving his gun to tell Niesha to hurry up. As this was going on, one of Niesha's co-workers, 34-year-old Derek Ellis, pulled out his gun and opened fire 2 times.
After I heard the shots go off, I went to the front and I see my best friend on the floor just lying there saying she got shot.
When authorities arrived at the scene, they found Niesha on the floor unresponsive with 2 gunshots to her chest. Though she was rushed to the hospital, that is where she would later be pronounced dead. Now overall, this looks like a robbery gone wrong, but let's go ahead and talk about what really happened. So the black Chevy Impala pulled up to the drive-thru window shortly after 10. The robber knocked on the window, and when he seen that it was a male employee who answered, he shortly left to go make a phone call. Who was he on the phone with? Allegedly, he was on the phone with his daughter, Mariah Edwards, and Niesha. When Mariah and Niesha allegedly confirmed that it was Mariah's father at the window, that is when the robber, Antoine Edwards, pulled up around the drive-thru. Now Niesha reportedly acted panicked, and that's when she backed up, started taking the money out, and alerted her other employees of what was going on. For some reason, Antoine escalated the situation even further because he felt like she was taking too long. Sorry y'all, it's a helicopter. So child, Antoine was crawling through the Burger King drive-thru window because he felt like Niesha was taking too long, and that is when he started waving his gun around at her and telling her to hurry up. Now initially, investigators believed that it was Antoine / the robber who shot Niesha because all they seen from the first footage that they had was him waving around his gun and telling her to hurry up. When half of Antoine's body was in the restaurant waving a gun around, that is when one of the Burger King employees came and put out his gun and shot 2 fires. Now when Derek Ellis was opening fire, he wasn't trying to aim at Niesha. He was actually trying to aim at the robber who was out here waving a gun. But unfortunately, the shots ended up hitting Niesha and not this alleged robber that he was aiming for. After the shots were fired, that is when Derek is scrambling to pick up the shells that were on the floor, and the store manager actually helped him put the gun in a safe. So Derek Ellis was already a convicted felon at this point, and apparently the store manager had been helping him store his gun for a while because he obviously couldn't have one. Now when all was said and done, eventually Mariah reportedly told police that this was all a staged robbery and Niesha was involved in it as well. So allegedly Niesha, Mariah, and Antoine planned this robbery a few days before it actually occurred. What's really fucking with me though is the fact that this 41-year-old man and father is plotting with his daughter to rob his daughter's job, and his daughter is 16 years old. Like, where is the adult in this? I feel like there couldn't have been more than like a couple hundred, maybe 1,000 at most, and none of that was worth doing this shit. I'm sure obviously they didn't think this was gonna be the outcome, but you had to have known that you were gonna be involved in some type of trouble, and you involved your daughter and her best friend at that. Allegedly this plan all started with Antoine and Mariah, but they did later involve Niesha because she would be the one working at the drive-thru window. And of course they were plotting to have Niesha give them the money and probably split it up later, who knows. As you guys know, it did not end up that way. And of course Derek Ellis was not a part of the plan at all. Mariah was the first one to confess all of this, and her father would later on confess as well. But, and here's what gets me, he goes on to say that Mariah was not in on this plan and Niesha was the only one involved. So I get it, like, you're the father and you don't want her to get in trouble, but if that was the case, you wouldn't have done this bullshit. I'm pretty sure Mariah was also arrested as well, but they did not list her charges. Antoine Edwards, however, is facing a charge of felony murder. He's also facing the charge of intentionally contributing to the delinquency of a child that resulted in death as a consequence, and also the possession of a firearm by a felon. I believe if convicted, he would be facing up to 30 years in prison. Derek Ellis is also facing a possession of a firearm. If convicted, he would be facing up to 10 years and possibly having to pay a $25,000 fine. But as of now, I do not believe the police know exactly where he is yet. While Antoine is saying that Niesha was the only one involved, Niesha's grandmother and mother do not think that is the case. They stated that Niesha didn't even really need the job, that all of them work in the family, and Niesha only wanted a job to save up for what she wanted personally. There's just so many conversations to have surrounding this, because it's just like a whole lot of shit going on. I mean, overall, I think we could all agree that this was some dumb shit that they try to pull off. I'm like more so mad at Antoine because you were the only real adult in the situation, and you're a father, you're a parent, and you don't know what kind of trouble could have happened to your daughter or her friend. And honestly, I feel like, especially if Mariah was the one who reportedly confessed this whole robbery plan, that she was most likely involved in it. I know Antoine's probably thinking like, you know, this girl unfortunately passed, but I could put some blame on her and take away that blame from my daughter. But like, I'm sorry, y'all both need to be accountable for this dumb shit that y'all try to pull, leading this 16-year-old girl to lose her life at a young age. If you did not want your daughter to be going to prison or getting charged for this, then you should not have done it. It would not have been worth her getting in trouble to do this shit anyway. Then there's this big lingering question of whether or not Niesha was involved. Now, even though her family says she didn't need to work, I feel like, you know, as parents, you don't always know what your kids are involved in. And you also don't know the amount of pressure that kids go through at school by their friends. So honestly, I feel like if anything, especially considering the fact that Antoine circled back when Niesha was at the window, I feel like if anything, she probably didn't need the money like her grandma and her mother said. However, she was probably helping out her best friend. And especially if your best friend and their father is asking you for help because they might be in financial trouble, like, you might feel more pressure to help them. Obviously, it was wrong nonetheless, but I feel like, you know, Niesha could have joined in to help them out of just the intention of wanting to help my best friend. But of course, we do not know, because on the other hand, it could have just been Mariah and her father. And looking back at Mariah's news clip, it's really crazy to think, like, I could not, first of all, I could not even speak. Like, I swear to God, I probably had my heart out of my chest at that point. Because it's like, you know, low-key deep down, this is partially your fault. Like, I'm not gonna blame it on her that her best friend is dead, but when you and your father reportedly asked her to join y'all in this staged robbery, like, regardless, you put her in a position that she shouldn't have been in, especially as your best friend, when y'all doing some illegal, stupid shit. The fact that she did end up confessing, I feel like at that point, what does she have to lose besides tell the truth? It seems like Antoine's trying to say that his daughter Mariah was not involved just to protect his daughter. But I feel like it's definitely sick to try to put that blame on this girl who lost her life because of y'all plan. Because again, if you did not want to risk your daughter getting in trouble, you could have also even done this on a night that she wasn't working and it was just you and Niesha if y'all was the only one conducting this plan. Overall, this is not only a robbery gone wrong, but it's just like, again, a whole, I know I've been saying this a lot, but just a whole bunch of dumb shit. But mostly Antoine, as he was the only adult in the situation. This is why you don't even try to do things like this, because you never know how it's gonna come out. And I feel like when you involve two young women who are just starting their lives, it's not even worth the risk. And this would be all the more worse if Niesha really wasn't involved and really didn't know what was going on. My love and thoughts go out to Niesha and her family. But I really want to know what you guys think. Comment out what you guys think below. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Snapchat at Chrissyy Talks and H.Chrissyy, 2 S's, 2 Y's. I love and appreciate you guys, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye, guys.
See the God, see the God, see the God.